जय गुरुदेव।
ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधिः दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यततोऽन्यथा। ॐ तत्सत्।
I think we stopped at Anabhishwanga. Jai Gurudev. Anabhishwanga. Anabhishwanga. Absence of excessive attachment to possessions. Lord Krishna mentions a few of these possessions. Putra Dara Grahadi, son, wife, house, etc. Shankara adds the servant to this list, and you can add a few more like car, stocks, etc. These are the things that are very dearly possessed by you and with whose well being your happiness and sorrow are connected. That is Abhishwangaha. There is so much there is so much identity with them that when they are doing well, you are happy. When they are not, you are miserable. Sorry. When the person dies, you feel that you might as well be dead. This is Abhishwanga, excessive attachment. It is not simply affection, but an affection that smothers you and the other person because, sorry, I'll read this again. It is not simply affection, but an affection that smothers you and the other person because there is too much emotional dependence. In order to bring up a child or maintain an intimate relationship, you must have care and affection. These are healthy, positive expressions that help a person to grow. The problem is not affection, but emotional dependence. Arjuna is not a sannyasi, and over his shoulders, Krishna is addressing all householders here. Although there is no affection for the house, there can be great care. This excessive caring for house, car, furniture, to the point of anxiety, is Abhishwanga. It is a misplaced value. We have to understand how much care is appropriate and where the care ends and the attachment begins. When it causes you any kind of pain, it is attachment, not caring. First, we must see our absence of ownership. Then, for some possessions, there is a natural affection because they require my care. It is here that I must be careful not to develop attachment. Love and care are fine, but not more than that. When it becomes emotional dependence, it creates a problem for me and for others. The one who is loved becomes a source of pain. It is it is easy to talk about these things, but in reality, we must be alert. There is a very fine line between attachment and caring, which is not easy to discern. Our reactions are indicators in this. This is all part of Vairagya. Samachittatva, equanimity. Then, in terms of attitude, we have Nityam Samachittatvam Ishtha Anishtha Upapattishu. Always the sameness of mind in the gain of the desirable and the undesirable. Always the sameness of mind in the gain of the desirable and the undesirable. We saw before that sameness, samatva, is karma yoga. This sameness is not with regards to karma, because neither karma nor its result can be the same. It is your mind that responds to the karma phala, and there can be an evenness in that response, whether desirable or undesirable things come to you. There are different levels of desirable and undesirable things, people, situations, health, food, and even weather. At one level, things are fine, at another, they are not. Sorry. Ultimately, everything is not fine. At one point, things are fine. At another, they are not. Ultimately, everything is not fine because even if all is fine, all is well now, you know it may not be tomorrow. Generally, if the situation is desirable, the mind, chitta, is cheerful, and if it is not, it is sorrowful. Things keeps changing, and if the mind also changes along with them, becoming elated with the desirable and depressed with the undesirable, there is continuous reaction. The problem with this is that the reacting mind is not available for learning, and our whole pursuit is one of learning. No matter what the situations are, desirable or undesirable, you try to maintain a composure. To enjoy composure, you do not require desirable or undesirable things. If you know how to swim, does it matter what the depth of water is? Similarly, if you have composure of mind, it does not matter whether the situation is desirable or undesirable. It must be there in any situation. That composure is born of your acceptance of Ishvara in your life, by which you get prasad buddhi, knowing that it is given to you to act and the results come as they do from Ishvara. This is not an ordinary attitude, and yet there is no other way of bringing about samachittatva. Please let me know if you want me to read this again. Therefore, the next line is Mai chananya yogena. Mai chananya yogena bhaktiravya bhaktiravya vivikta desha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi. Sorry, excuse me. Mai cha and in me. Bhakti avyabhicharini and unswerving devotion. Ananya yogena, not connected to anything else. Vivikta desha sevitvam, the disposition of repairing to a quiet place. Aratihi, no longing for. Jana samsadi, the company of people. And an unswerving devotion to me that is not connected to anything else. The disposition of repairing to a quiet place, no longing for the company of people. Avyabhicharini bhakti, unswerving devotion. Mai, in me, the Lord is a bhakti. Devotion that is avyabhicharini, unswerving. Mai, in me, the Lord is a bhakti. Devotion that is avyabhicharini, unswerving. When there is a devotion to something and yet mind moves away from it, that is vyabhicharini bhakti. A contradiction also is called vyabhichara. Avyabhicharini bhakti is an abiding, unflinching devotion in which there is no moving away from the object of devotion. You can look upon Ishvara as totally separate from yourself or as the one who is cause of everything and non separate from everything, even if it is not yet properly understood. Because we are talking about jnana here. The devotion is to Ishvara, who is Sarvajna, all knowing, Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful, and the creator and sustainer of the entire creation, as well as the one who resolves everything back unto himself. This devotion is with total commitment to Ishvara. This devotion is called Ananya Yogena Bhaktihi. Shankara says this is the devotion to the Lord that is backed by understanding that there is no one who is superior to Vasudeva. He is not caused, he is the limitless, beyond whom there is none. Another meaning is a bhakti that is backed by the knowledge that there is no refuge other than Vasudeva, in the sense that I want only to gain the knowledge of what Ishvara is. The mind is committed to general form of prayer. While there is nothing wrong with that, here we are talking about a means, sadhana, for gaining knowledge of Parameshwara. The other Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, for which a religious person invokes Ishvara, are resolved into moksha, for which I require Atma Jnana, which is Ishwar Jnana. Therefore, for me, the Lord alone is the refuge and the end of my pursuit. In this value, two things are indicated. It shows that the Purushartha Nischaya, ascertainment of what one really wants, is clear, and because of this Viveka, the Ahankara is not predominant. If Ishvara is the only refuge, then one recognizes one's own limitations, and this recognition keeps the Ahankara under check. That can make one feel lowly, but if one understands that there is Ishvara, one feels supported as it were. It releases one from the sense of helplessness. He understands that everything is given the body, senses, mind, the world, and therefore there is nothing to worry about. Only if I am the author can I be a failure. When I am not the author of anything, there is no sense of failure or helplessness, and that helps in gain of samachittatva. Relinquishing the need to control the situations and surroundings to Ishvara gives equanimity. When Ishvara is recognized as the one who presides over all actions and gives their results, the problem of controlling and manipulating situations to suit to our needs disappears. Even though we have no control over anything in reality, we want to control because of fear of failure stemming from deep insecurity. No one wants to give up control because there is a sense of being a loser. The truth is, it is not a sense, it is a fact. Every individual is born loser because there is no possibility of controlling all situations so that they are to his advantage. Every individual is born loser because there is no possibility of controlling all situations so that they are to his advantage. When that is so, It is better to relinquish control, leave it to Bhagwan. He is the creator of all this and he can take care of it. I do what I can, for that is also Bhagwan after all. But there is no necessity to attempt to control. As an individual, I have some free will which I can exercise in performing an action. But once I have decided upon a course of action, the result is taken care of by the laws. Recognition of Ishvara as the giver of the results loosens me from the sense of failure and the necessity to control the situations. Then samatva is possible. There is no other way of enjoying composure.
Rinal, can you just repeat that one more time? This.
Yeah, this paragraph or the whole thing,
Uh,
I can read the whole. Yeah.
yeah.
This devotion is with total commitment to Ishvara. This devotion is called Ananya Yogena Bhaktihi. Shankara says that Shankara says this is the devotion to the Lord that is backed by the understanding that there is no one who is superior to Vasudeva. He is not caused. He is the limitless, beyond whom there is none. Another meaning is a bhakti that is backed by the knowledge that there is no refuge other than Vasudeva, in the sense that I want only to gain the knowledge of what Ishvara is. The mind is committed to general form of prayer. While there is nothing wrong with that, here we are talking about a means, sadhana for gaining knowledge of Parameshvara. The other Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, and Kama, for which a religious person invokes Ishvara, are resolved into moksha, for which I require Atma Jnana, which is Ishwar Jnana. The other Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, for which a religious person invokes Ishvara, are resolved into moksha, for which I require Atma Jnana, which is Ishwar Jnana. Therefore, for me, the Lord alone is refuge and end of my pursuit. In this value, two things are indicated. It shows that the Purushartha Nishchaya, ascertainment of what one really wants, is clear, and because of this Viveka, the Ahankara is not predominant. If Ishvara is the only refuge, then one recognizes one's own limitations, and this recognition keeps the Ahankara under check. That can be that can make one feel lowly. But if one understands that there is Ishvara, one feels supported as it were. It releases one from the sense of helplessness. He understands that everything is given the body, senses, mind, the world, and therefore there is nothing to worry about. If I am the author, can I be a failure? When I am not the author of anything, there is no sense of failure or helplessness, and that helps in the gain of samachittatva. Relinquishing the need to control the situations and surrendering to Ishvara gives equanimity. When Ishvara is recognized as the one who presides over all actions and gives their results, the problem of controlling and manipulating situations to suit my needs disappears. When Ishvara is recognized as the one who presides over all actions and gives their results, the problem of controlling and manipulating situations to suit to my needs disappears. Even though we have no control over anything in reality, we want to control because of fear of failure stemming from deep insecurity. No one wants to give up control because there is a sense of being a loser. The truth is, it is not a sense, it is a fact. Every individual is a born loser because there is no possibility of controlling all situations so that they are to his advantage. When that is so, it is better to relinquish control. Leave it to Bhagwan. He is the creator of all this and he can take care of it. I do what I can, for that is also Bhagwan after all. But there is no necessity to attempt to control. As an individual, I have some free will which I can exercise in performing an action. But once I have decided upon course of action, the result is taken care of by the laws. Recognition of Ishvara as the giver of the results loosens me from a sense of failure and the necessity to control situations. Then samatva is possible. There is no other way of enjoying composure. There is no other way of enjoying composure. Although psychological pragmatism will give you a degree of composure, we have to go we have to go a step further here because we are interested in reality, and the reality with reference to karma is that the Lord is giver of the results of actions. There is no other way of enjoying composure. Although psychological pragmatism will give you a degree of composure, we have to go a step further here because we are interested in reality, and the reality with reference to karma is that the Lord is the giver of the results of the actions. Acknowledging this makes life easy and simple because it is a fact. When you rub against a fact, you always get rubbed in the process. Eventually, you learn to accept the fact that Bhagwan is the giver of results. More and more intimately, you realize that you are the agent and he is the ordiner of the results of your action. The more composed you are until you understand that everything is Ishvara. More and more, more and more intimately, you realize that you are the agent and he is the ordiner of results of your action. The more composed you are until you understand that everything is Ishvara. To gain this understanding, you require a composed disposition. Seeing that you are the agent and the Bhagwan is giver of the result, permits you to have samatva and an unflinching devotion, avevicharani bhakti. Without one, other is not possible. Evenness of mind, samachittatva is possible only when it is backed by devotion. Seeing that you are the agent and the Bhagwan is giver of results, permits you to have samatva and an unflinching devotion, avabhicharini bhakti. Without one, other is not possible. Evenness of mind, samachittatva, is possible only when it is backed by devotion. Vivikta Desha Sevitva, seeing a quiet, undisturbed place. Vivikta Desha, Shankara says, is a place which is by nature free from causes for fear. The one who repairs to such a place has Vivikta Desha Sevitva. So do not go to a forest that is infested with reptiles and wild animals, or you will be distracted in meditation by fear, constantly on alert for predators. It should be a quiet place, but one which it should be a quiet place, but one in which you have no fear. It can be a forest, which is more like a large park, or the bank of river, or a mountain, or in India, it can be a quiet temple. These are the situations that a human mind generally accepts objectively, not wanting them to be different. Or you can create a quiet place, and if that is not possible, there is always a time when everything is quiet. A place like this is required because you do not have to deal with it. When you see a mountain, you do not want it to be different, or and therefore you do not have to deal with it. When you see a mountain, you do not want it to be different, and therefore you do not have to deal with it. You enjoy it as it is, whether it is a bald mountain or one covered with the trees. In situations which you naturally accept, the mind gains a certain quietude. The one who has tendency to repair to a quiet place is called Vivikta Desha Sevi, and his state of mind is called Vivikta Desha Sevitva. Because of that, the mind becomes cheerful and disposed to contemplation. With a cheerful mind alone, you can think of Atma because you have leisure. In the beginning, in the beginning, it is a luxury, and afterwards it becomes your bread and butter. When I have to, when I have so many things to do, thinking about Atma is a luxury. But when you have nobody to contend with, you have so much time with yourself, and your mind will naturally go towards yourself to understand what this I is. Then, study of the Shastra and contemplation is all possible. That disposition, that disposition to enjoy a contemplative life is Vivikta Desha Sevitva. It is something that one has to cultivate because generally we seek the company of people. Jana Samsad, read the few lines. When I have many things to do, thinking about Atma is a luxury. But when you have nobody to contend with, you have so much time with yourself, and your mind will naturally go towards yourself to understand what this I is. Then study of Shastra and contemplation is all possible. That disposition to enjoy a contemplative life is Vivikta Desha Sevitva. That disposition to enjoy a contemplative life is Vivikta Desha Sevitva. It is something that one has to cultivate because generally we seek the company of people. Jana Samsad. Aratihi Jana Samsadi. Seeking solitude. We have a need to talk to someone because there is such a build-up of psychological pressure. Sometimes it is necessary, but then that becomes a habit because you are not able to sit with yourself. It indicates a tendency to escape from oneself. Aratihi janasamsadi means not longing for company. The word arati means not having interest, and janasamsadi means in the company of people. Thus, aratihi janasamsadi means not having an interest in the company of people. It is not an aversion to people, but rather a lack of longing. Being afraid of company or needing the company of people both indicate a problem of facing oneself. The one who seeks people wants to escape from himself, and the one who is afraid of people also does not want to confront himself because in the company of others he is uncomfortable with his own sense of smallness. The disposition we want is to be neither afraid of people nor seeking people. That means you can be with yourself and you are not going to be disturbed when people are around. If you are able to be with yourself, that means you are not afraid of yourself and are ready to face your problems. Only when you can recognize, sorry, only when you can acknowledge your problems can you hope to solve them. If you want to escape from a problem and yet make a conscious effort to face it, you have already begun to gain a victory over it. Then it is a question of understanding. Thus, Vivikta Desha Sevitva is an important means for jnana. Aratihi, value of satsanga.
Jai Gurudev Mrinal.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just stop, pause a while here, and just do manana of all those values that we learned today. We started with
Anabhishvanga.
Anabhishvanga, right? Anabhishvanga, putradara grihadishu. Then um, samachittatvam,
Yeah.
nishta nishtopapattishu.
Avyabhicharani bhakti.
And Abhyabhicharini Bhakti. And just now we learnt about this
Vivikta
Janasams,
Desha.
Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. Yeah. I think if each one can um, say what this means to them, what they've understood of this, that will be good.
And it says there is a thin line between the attachment and care. When you
Correct.
cross that line, you really don't know.
And like Dr. Renu says, it is giving up the habit of controlling because Ishvara is the giver of all the results. So surrendering to Ishvara is the way. Avoid excessive attachment to people and things. Correct. Anabhishvangaha. Care versus attachment. This is not just in the physical plane. All this is actually in the mental plane. How strongly we are attached to things, to people. Putra grahadishu. He's got the whole complete gamut of things that uh, we are in relation to. Money also. People who are so attached to their money. Name, fame, all of that will come in there.
Yeah. And including furniture, cars, how we get attached to. I
Isn't it?
remember, yeah, I had an old car, and I mean, there was another reason also, because I didn't want my husband to spend, since the car was working, I didn't want the new car. But then uh, on one of my birthdays, he gifted me a new car. And then I felt so bad to leave the old car. The happiness of having new car was not there at all. I kept feeling bad that, oh, I have to give up my old car. So even such things you have attachment for. But slowly I have come to know that what is attachment and what is love. But just because, like, especially with the pets, in our compound, there are many cats keep coming to my house. Just because I keep giving food to my cats and all, they keep coming to my place, and they deliver over here. There are many kittens around, and every time I felt like, I don't want to see those kittens, and because I will get attached, and then I'll start caring for them. That was my, I would tell my help, so that don't bring that kitten over here, otherwise, you feed it somewhere else, but don't bring it in front of me. I get attached to that. But then I felt, am I not running away from what I am supposed to be? I don't go out and look for the kittens, but since they come over here, I feel that it's my, I should be feeding them because they come for food. And okay, it is okay to give that care, and if it is not well, I might take it to the vet, but no more than that. That doesn't mean I stop caring just because of fear of attachment. If I stop caring, the kitten will it will be eaten by some other male cat also. So that care and love should be given, but not attachment. But because you will get attached, that fear would be there. I had been stopping myself from caring also.
Dr. Java, you can read my last message.
Emotional dependence needs to be avoided. Avoid excessive attachment to people.
So, there's nothing wrong in taking care, but which is what I think all of us will, I will have to do that, because what is important, you do. You have to, it's all a sense of priority, right? How much are we prioritizing? How much are we adding onto our plate every day? We want to add on more commitments, and then you will not have you will not have any time for the pursuit of Atmajnana, which is what somewhere I think today he says Atmajnana becomes a luxury, not a thing. When when you relieve yourself all those extra, I would say, unwanted commitments, then you will be given that inner leisure, for you to pursue what is important, because we have this short life. We don't know how long each of us is going to live. So in this short life, are we going to be following, pursuing things which really don't matter? In this example, taking care of those kittens, I mean, the mother nature will take care of them, isn't it? So I'm not saying yes or no, I'm not saying right or wrong, but it's only a little bit of awareness as to what all are we going to go on adding on to our plate,
Mm.
isn't it?
Right.
So I am very famous for that. I take on a lot of commitments, but off late I can see that there is a little settling down of that um, that behavior. Taking on too much that I cannot take, and then you get so suffocated because there are so many things you want to do. There is very little time, and that is how much you can do. So anabhishwangaha putra dara grihadishu nityancha samachittatvam nishtopapattishu. So in favorable, unfavorable situations, to have that equanimity of mind and not to control things, like what Dr. Renu very nicely reflected upon. You're not coming from the sense of controlling situations like how I want them to be. Rather, you take Ishvara as the giver of everything. You do what is required, and you are um, at peace with whatever is happening. Otherwise, people who are controlling, that includes me, I think all people who are perfectionists want to control. So that you want things to be the way you want them to be. But that doesn't happen all the time. You do, and whatever happens, you take it as Ishvara's prasada. So that will relieve one from, number one, being in control, saying you are the one controlling everything. And also it relieves you of the ahankara, and I'm the doer, and the bhokta and the karta. And vivikta desha sevitvam. I'm just wondering, I was just smiling at myself when you were reading this. It says, don't go to the jungle where you close your eyes and you have the fear of wild animals coming at you. So when we went to Kenya several years ago for a trip, we went on this the safari. The savannah. Savannah is a very tall African grass. So I had this crazy thought. I wanted to get off there, ask the guide to get off, and I wanted to sit and meditate. And in savannah, it is so that it is so the you might have a pride of lions sitting there, and they're so camouflaged you don't even know that they're sitting there. So my husband and kids said, "Are you crazy? Why do you want to get off and then meditate? If you want to do it in the jeep, not in not sitting out there." So I was just smiling at myself and reading that. So be practical. Have a place where it is clean, neat. Shuchau deshe pratishtapya. But not something that will make you feel fearful, and then your mind space is taken up by the fear. There's no meditation happening. It's all full of fear.
Can you please explain this? Uh, we saw before the sameness, samatva is karma yoga. This sameness is not with regards to karma, because neither karma nor its results can be the same. Uh, is it? Okay, I don't know whether I got the meaning right over here.
Can you read that?
Yeah. Samachittatva, equanimity. Then in terms of attitude, we have nityam samachittatvam, ishtha anishtha, upapattishu, always the sameness of mind in the gain of desirable and the undesirable. We saw before that the sameness, samatva, is karma yoga. This sameness is not with regards to karma because neither karma nor its result can be the same. It is your mind that responds to karma phala, and there can be an evenness in that response, whether desirable or undesirable things come to you.
Yeah, I think this Swamiji is mentioning that the samachittatvam is in the mind. It's an attitude in the mind, not in the karma. I don't know. How did you understand that?
Uh, What's the karma? Because neither karma nor its results can be the same.
If you read further, it is clarifies this. If you read the full paragraph.
Because desire, a desirable or undesirable results, it is only after when we do karma, right? So there you have to have samachitatvam. Sameness is not regards to karma, neither nor result can be the same.
Dr. Renu says if you read further, it'll get clarified. So if you can
Okay.
just read a little further.
It is your mind that responds to karma phala, and there can be an evenness in that response, whether desirable or undesirable things come to you. There are different levels of desirable and undesirable things: people, situations, health, food, and even weather. At one level, things are fine, at another, they are not. Ultimately, everything is not fine because even if all is fine well now, you know it may not be tomorrow. Generally, if the situation is desirable, the mind, chitta, is cheerful, and if it is not, it is sorrowful. Things keep changing, and if the mind also changes along with them, becoming elated when desirable and depressed with undesirable, there is continuous reaction. The problem with this is that the reacting mind is not available for learning, and our whole pursuit is of one of learning. No matter what the situations are, desirable or undesirable, you try to maintain a composure. To enjoy composure, you do not require desirable or undesirable things. If you know how to swim, does it matter what the depth of the water is? Similarly, if you have composure of mind, it does not matter whether the situation is desirable or undesirable. It must be there in any situation. Mm, Here, still not very clear, but I got the gist of what uh, I mean. Be equanimous in both the situations if the result is desirable or undesirable. But these two sentences were not very clear to me. But
See, the karma cannot be equanimous. Karma cannot be the same all the time.
ah,
Karma situations cannot be the same all the time. Like remember in the happiness course point when we talk about the acceptance of people, you can't expect everyone to be at your same level. Each one is different. So when that is so, when karma cannot be the same, situations outside cannot be the same, what is that sameness you're looking at? It is your mental attitude towards the different karmas that you are experiencing, different situations you're experiencing out there in the world. They may be favorable, they may not be favorable. So that is not what we're looking at samatva, not in the situations there, not in the karma there. We're looking at your mental, your attitude towards them. So no matter positive, negative, you still maintain your balance.
Yeah. It was very simple meaning, but then the way it has been written was little confusing.
Which is good, no? It brought
Yeah.
up this vichara in there.
Correct.
And there was also this thing about, with respect to people, either you go out to be with the company of people, or you shun them, because it'll make you feel your sense of smallness. So both ways is not right, is not conducive. So this Aratirjana Samsadi, I think that did not come to yet, no? Or we just
Yeah.
read it before that, where you're
Hmm.
not shunning the company of people out of this. It is not out of frustration. It is not out of your sense of smallness that you shun people. It is out of understanding. So it is like that ekaki yata chittatma, where you are sitting by yourself. You don't need anyone else to complete you. You are feeling complete in yourself. And you're not looking at being in the company of others for self-validation, self-acceptance. So it should come from that sense. Like someone invites you for a party, two stances you can take. One, of course, you go, enjoy the whole company and come back. Second, you may want to avoid the party because you don't feel comfortable there. The third, that of a sadhak, will be, this party, I know this is not conducive for my growth and all that. There may be some people who are against the path that I'm on. So with that understanding, if you say, oh, I don't think I should be there in that company, then it is different. So there are three aspects, three approaches that we can take, anyone can take. I mean, that's what I think this Aratir Jana Samsadi is. If anyone else can also share, will be good.
In
And
both
in
the
our
cases,
present context, it need not be just people. It may also be social media. You don't need to be in the company of anyone. When you open your Facebook or wherever, whichever social media, there is a flood of um, information, impressions that come up from there. Even that can be considered right now in our context. In Bhagwan Krishna's time, there was no social media and all, I suppose. Otherwise, you would have mentioned even that.
this explains in one sentence, like being afraid of company or needing the company of people both indicate a problem of facing oneself.
In the first instance, you want to escape yourself. That is why you seek the company of others. You want others to validate you. You want others to recognize you, accept you. Therefore, you feel good. In the second instance, you're avoiding the company because it makes you feel limited. It makes you feel small. Both ways, we're using that company. Both ways, you are refusing to accept yourself as you are. No? That is why they say antarmukhi sada sukhi. Instead of going inwards, we go outwards. Either we go into company or we shun company. And shunning company is not in the, it is not in the positive manner. It is because you feel small, you don't want to go. That is it. So that is how, I mean, that is what we need to look at when that's another self introspection that we do. Why are we not going? Why are we shunning company? Is it because of this? Or is it because of that vairagya that is not conducive for me?
But again, it has said that many times we have some problems, we need some solution, we might seek some advice. So we need to talk to someone because there is such a build-up of psychological pressure. Sometimes it is necessary.
No,
But then
correct.
that becomes, yeah, but then that becomes a habit because you are not able to sit with yourself.
What Dr. Renu writes is being happy in your own company and no need to be in company of people and need for validation from others. But here I just remember what Gurudev says. He said, just be a normal, natural person. You neither need to take either extreme. Neither do you go out, become a um, socialite and go on, in the company of people. You're so engrossed and involved in meeting with people that you don't have any time for your own self. Neither you become a recluse. It's a balance. Whenever it's required, I think you go, but at the same time, see, it's like that wise person. When it is day, it is night for when it is night for others, it's day for him. And when it's day for others, it is night for him. So if we can use this knowledge and be in that space, sometimes because of pressure of uh, being in the, we are all in the society. We cannot, and we are all householders. We cannot say no to everything, but at the same time, cut a fine balance. I think we'll just read this Aratir Jana Samsadi.
Yeah.
If anybody else wants to share anything, please go ahead. Otherwise, we'll read this and maybe we'll close for today.
I wanted to say here that say when I'm in a company, like say after a follow-up, we are all sitting together, and then if there is some discussion on spirituality, like some of my younger volunteers, I've given them that Rajima's Bhagavad Sapta, whatever you had given the videos, and I said, watch it, it's very good and all that. There's some discussion on that, that pleases me. But then there are some who sit with my wife also and all that. We are all together and they discuss cricket and betting and all that. And I don't know, somehow I don't appreciate that kind of a discussion anymore. I don't want to get involved in that. I don't appreciate it. I don't know, like, am I getting intolerant towards such discussions? I don't know. It's like for me, immediately what comes up is it the truth? How many bettors do you know? Have you been in a circle of people who have betted? Do you know any person who takes bets? Somebody said something on TV and you want to talk about it and discuss it. Like it's just I don't know, somewhere in our spiritual discourses also that talk something which is the truth, like we had gone through all that. It all that just comes up surfaces for me. I don't know whether I when this topic was going on of liking your own company, yes, I don't mind that. But if somebody is talking spirituality, it's okay and wanting to know something about knowledge. But on the other hand, mundane discussions don't please me at all.
I think the way forward there will be just to be indifferent to them so that it doesn't affect you, rather than take a stand there saying, then element of aversion starts coming in.
Yeah.
You start hating that, you start developing aversion to that. Rather than that, if you're indifferent, then it will not affect us, maybe. I agree with you. There are sometimes things about politics and all that. I mean, to some people, for instance, with Prem, politics is very important. He talks about, and he has very you know lengthy discussions about politics and what's happening in the world outside. For me, because I think every person is different, they have their different perspectives of the world. For me, it doesn't really appeal to me. But at the same time, uh, I think to each his own. You can just choose to be indifferent, or choose to, not let visa, give it visa to enter your mind.
Yeah. I was just observing my own mind as to the
It
state
is
of
rather
my mind.
happening. It is happening with all of us. Like we all are in that state that we do not like all the discussions which are not meaningful. But every person have we read we every person have a background, so their thoughts, their actions come from that. So they are also evolving, and maybe they are a bit late. So it is just that acceptance of them, and move on. It's like all the people in the house cannot be the same, so you cannot disregard them. But it is that you have to have that acceptance so that your mental peace doesn't get disturbed. Because we just read initially, that every people, they uh, what they think or what they do, it comes from their own backgrounds. It is their nature of the body, that how much rajas, sattva and tamas they have. So it is basically acceptance mainly. Yeah, thank you.
Also, if you look at it in the broader perspective, even Gurudev, he gives his opinion on everything that's happening, including, people ask him. It's not like he wantonly gives his opinion. People ask him for what is the opinion about the Israel-Palestine thing going on right now, whatever, either Ukraine-Russia war. So it is not like he's not aware of that. He's aware of that, and he gives a very pragmatic reply to all of those. So when I think having a broader outlook to this, because living in this world, we cannot negate this in the outside world. When there is adharma happening, when you have to step in and put yourself, I, like you said, each one comes from their own background and their sense of maybe responsibility, involvement. Because Prem feels very strongly about uh, politics. Maybe it's his background. For me, it is not that. So I think to each his own.
Even even these days, even I was feeling like I don't I don't have so much interest in watching now the World Cup and all. I would just come at the last moment, just be with everybody because everybody is enjoying. But nowhere that enjoyment is seen in me, like as if I know the result now. I was totally disinterested. But that being with people who are enjoying it matters because they will feel ki, what is that you're not even interested in this match. Yes, I'm not, but then at least I had to show that yes, I will be sitting with you, pretend that I'm enjoying with you. Same thing even I'm going through, like everybody will be watching that movie laughing, no interest at all these days in such things. But I don't know, social, when we are in the social and with the family and all who have interest, showing that disinterest, I don't know how much it is right. Plus, when people are talking about politics and movies, when we are in the company of friends, I think we need to be informed, but not uh, get involved as much. But definitely, I feel we have to get involved. Otherwise, you feel that you are left out, or they might feel odd about you. Just being with people and then not, at least you should know a bit of it. This is what I felt. And I keep only so much of information just for somebody else's sake and not for my sake. I don't know whether I'm doing it right, but I feel there is a need to be informed about what is happening around, so that you are a social animal and you will have your friends. You need not have, I mean, you don't feel the need, but as a family, we will have friends. My friend, husband has friends and all. I cannot say that I cannot mingle with your friends. It doesn't happen. He might as well say, because he doesn't like so much of uh, what we what I like. But as a respect to the family, I have to be with everybody around, and showing that little bit of interest, though you don't have, keeps the conversation going on. I don't know whether I'm doing it right or not.
For me, I cannot do like if I don't have interest, I can't sit and like what you are saying, Manal. Like
Mm,
I have, matlab, if I'm not interested in that particular like match was going on, I
mm.
didn't sit at all because I I just think that it is the waste of time. What are they watching? What meaning it has? Uh, I can
Absolutely right.
utilize this time for other things. So, but it is, the word arati. Arati means not having interest in the company of people, and samsadis, that jan samsadis, that you enjoy the company of people.
Now, if
So,
your family becomes this kind of people around you,
yeah,
how can you not be with them? This is what is my concern. And their friends,
no, we
when we
we
are
we
doing, uh,
we are in the company of the family, like, but it is not always that. Uh, and especially when you from your inner voice is saying no, and you go and sit, I cannot do it, like I
mm,
cannot pretend at all that
it is
for
difficult, very
for
difficult. But
pleasing them. Yeah, it
many
is very
times I had
difficult.
to pretend, but because they want me there, because they feel that, yes, together we should watch it. And then they don't know that I am not so much interested, though I tell them I'm not interested, but they feel that, yeah, as a family, let's enjoy this together. So, yeah. It was so funny, like
Yes,
we were in Mumbai.
if they are asking for you to join, then you should
Yeah,
join.
yeah, they enjoy me being around them, so I give them that pleasure. It so happened that once we were in Mumbai, and then happened to be in a function where these cricketers were there. There was a book launch, and then we just happened to be there. And then when we were sitting, and then there was a book inauguration. I knew Sachin Tendulkar, and there was somebody sitting next to him. And then I asked the lady next to me, who is the other guy next to Sachin Tendulkar? She said, "Are you Indian?" I said, "Yeah." "You don't know him? He's Rohit Sharma." I'm sitting for the function. It was his function. I didn't know who he was. So I felt little, I should be little informed about what is happening now. This was the thought I had, but yes, totally no interest in these things.
people want you around because you have that positive energy in you. And I was listening for a small it was just a simple some katha was there on YouTube. Then uh, the person who was the orator, he was telling that if you go home to if you go to your own home and your in-laws miss you, it means that you have that positivity about you. It is because of that they are missing. So it is the some people you want us like around you, and they give you that positivity. It is all because of that you are having that positivity. That is why the people in your house wants you around. Your presence, your sattva is increased. That is why your the people in the house, they find some maybe the aura there, or the presence of yours makes them peaceful and happy. So it is your own sattva, that is the aura that is expanding basically. This is what I understood from his discourse.
Because as a family, when everybody wants to go enjoy a movie, I don't feel very nice to say that I don't like movies anymore. I cannot come with you. Uh, as a family, I think we have to do these things. Don't know, and try as much as possible to enjoy the movie, whatever it is. This is what I have been doing. Uh,
It's right, because sometimes you do have to, but not always.
yeah,
But yeah, but we do have to be in this family, so we have to regard other people's uh, interest also. So sometimes we have to sit, though we do not want. Then we can just scroll on our this knowledge points in the mobile. That I usually do. When whatever, like I have to read, I sit there and read. It
I'm
happens.
reminded of what
Yeah.
Gurudev told Vinod Menon once long back. This is one of the Guru stories. I think Vinodji went to the city. This was in the very, when the ashram was just coming up. It was in the very beginning of the art of living. So he went out to watch a movie, and that day Gurudev did not. Um, Vinodji was waiting outside his kutir for a long, long time. Everybody else was allowed to go inside but him. And in the night when he went, he made him sit down. I think, and Gurudev actually fed him. And then he asked him where, Gurudev of course knew where he was. When he got to know that he went out to watch a movie, he said, if you actually had to watch a movie, you could have watched this movie. And he gave him some, the name of this movie. It was about this, it was about this Shaolin. I don't remember the exact name because I watched that movie. I, I, I mean, I have a thought block with respect to the name of the movie. But he said, if you could watch, you could have watched this movie. So I understand that we as family members have to be within the family and then be part of it. But maybe you can steer the direction of the entertainment towards something which is more positive rather than watch a movie which is full of violence. Maybe you can, there are some good movies out there. You can still have some good family time together. You can maybe do a little bit of research, find out some a moral based story, a moral based movie that is uplifting. Um,
I am in minority. No one will listen to me.
no, I think it is that it is the strength from which you come from. No, you can make a suggestion. You can say, okay, this is what I think will be good. Let's watch this. No harm in that. No, you can,
Yeah.
and with the strength of your conviction, I think it will happen. And this is only a suggestion.
Yeah.
Dr. Renu says it does not mean that we don't have to be in company of people, but the message is not to have need of being in company of others for validation. Is perhaps wanting to convey need of being in company should be avoided. That is what you must feel complete in yourself. See, whether you're the movie or with the family, like Gurudev says, a person who is in the one who feels alone in the midst of people, in the din of people, you can maintain that inner silence within you.
Oh,
Not that
very
you force it.
rightly pointed out by Renuji. Very right. It is the need, whether you feel or not. Yes. That is the point which is made over here. Correct.
Just now I received another beautiful message. If someone can read it, thank you. Just now.
Responsibilities at the day's end, and take my mind into state of peace, and benevolence enables me
No.
to
Just received this message from my friend who follows this page.
okay.
So start from this.
Yeah. Brahmaraji, are you reading?
You go ahead, Mirinal, you read.
Yeah, okay. Just received this beautiful message from my friend, BK Brahma Kumari. The ability to enjoy one's own company is one of the greatest gifts life has to offer. Learning to turn learning to turn my thoughts away from my responsibilities at the day's end, and take my mind into a state of peace and benevolence enables me to carry greater and greater loads without feeling the burden. When my inner landscape is full of beautiful thoughts, everything I do is pleasure. Mm, yeah.
And again, we don't need to sit here in judgment of others. Each one is in his own journey, his or her own evolution. So moving in this world with that Shanti, accommodating everyone. At the same time, see how beautifully Krishna has laced all these qualities together. On one side, he says Kshanti, and on the other side, he says uh, Ananya Yogena, Avyabhicharini Bhakti. So all this will come out of Viveka. Viveka is the cornerstone of all of this. Out of understanding, we do this. We don't denounce. Like initially I used to feel when Prem was talking about politics, I used to feel, why is he wasting his time on this? But then later I realized maybe that is his vasanas, his samskaras, and if everybody takes the other stand, who's going to run the people who run the country require to go into politics. And I know he sends a lot of tweets and all that to the Indian politics. So everybody has their role to play.
Yeah,
That
everybody's
gave me a
Kurukshetra
sense
is
of,
different.
yeah, that gave me a sense of, that letting go gave me a sense of freedom from within. And I understood, and I gave him his space rather than condemn him and then say, oh, why are you wasting your time on that? So it depends. And Krishna also said the same thing to Arjuna. No, he didn't say, okay, Aratir Jana Samsadi, so go to Rishikesh. Stand up and fight. You must uplift dharma. So if you look at the social media right now, it is being run by, people's lives are being run by social media. There is a doctor in Bahrain who, because of his comment on social media, and because the reaction of the social media to that comment had an extreme, consequence. So that is how the current situation is. So when such is the case, when, like Gurudev rightly says, it's because the 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 power of the good people is not heard. They're not heard loud enough. So when I look at that, I say, yes, people like Prem have to be around in order to make their voice heard. For dharma to stand up, you have to do that. So I think everything is okay in this world. I go along with that complete kshanti, accommodate everybody while keeping your viveka there, your commitment. What is that? Oh, let Premji enjoy what he likes to do. We need not control, as was discussed. Yeah. No, I was not coming from the sense of control. I was just telling him, rather than spend so much time, spend some time. I was only trying to kind of telling him to regulate the amount of time he spends on that. That's it. I agree. Initially, I was wanting to control, but now I've got that sense of let go. So it gives me a lot of sense of freedom. Thank you. Maybe we'll stop here today. It's going to be 6:30. And tomorrow we'll continue this thing, Aratir Jana Samsadi.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.